marketing director at Horizon Group USA. Shout out to all my Horizoners. I've been with the company for 7 years now, and I oversee all things fun, creative, and content related, from e-commerce to social media. So think of all the stuff you see online. I did it with my team. Um, Best team ever. Shout out to digital marketing. And growing up, something that I always thought is so crazy now that I work at a craft and toy company is that I didn't know you could do that. So you can be anything. You can work at a craft and toy company. The only thing better than playing with toys is making them. So we have a really unique opportunity to just simply bring joy every day with everything we make. Um, Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm a little bit nervous. This is my first time ever hosting a class, but I've been crafting forever. Kids craft are my specialty. Check out craftprojectideas.com if you guys are looking for more ideas, michaels.com. Check out all the classes, and let's dive in. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make zoo animals out of cardboard tubes. So I know a ton of us have been stuck at home for a while, so I'm sure you have a surplus of paper tubes. Here's a great way, a fun way to use them. Not only am I going to show you how to make different creations, but I'm going to show you different techniques. So this time, so going forward, you can use these techniques to make your own creatures. Depending on, oh, shout out to New Jersey. Hey, New Jersey. Um, Depending on how many animals you're trying to create today will determine how many cardboard tubes you need. So if you want to make a snake, all you need is one toilet paper roll, and this is who we're going to start with. Same with the elephant. So we'll start with both of these guys because then you only need one tube per character. The other guys I'm hoping to get to today, if we have time, are the lion. And then you can see behind me, there is a giraffe and a zebra as well. The best part is giraffe, zebra. The best part is about these guys is that once you learn the basics of how to create the lion or the zebra or the giraffe, they're all really similar. So you can basically use it as a basis to create any animal that you want. The one thing I do want to say is I made very traditional colored animals for our examples, but there are no rules. Your animals can be whatever colors you want. So let's dive in. Once you've grabbed your paper tubes, honestly, for your elephant and your snake, you're pretty much ready to go. So we're just gonna start with the snake. Let's pick out whatever color you want to use. I'm gonna make a pink snake today. Pink is one of my favorite colors.
Katie, we have a couple of questions coming in that we can answer.
Sure, what's up?
So the first question from Sophie was, do we need a pattern? And I said, that's a great question. You won't need a pattern. But like Katie said, when she starts to teach you the techniques, then you'll be able to use the same techniques to create lots of different animals. And then what supplies do we need besides TP rolls? So I think that's what Katie is about to get into now.
So you can use either paint or markers. I mean, honestly, whatever you have at your fingertips, paint, crayon, markers, craft foam, colored pencils, go for it. I'm going to use paint today because I think that it's just easier because the coverage is a little bit faster, but we will have a little bit of a drying time. The other things you'll need to embellish your animals are friendship thread or embroidery thread. You could use fuzzy sticks, chenille stems, pipe cleaners, however you refer to them. And then you'll obviously need scissors and a paintbrush if you're painting, and something to put your animals together. So you can use, if you're with an adult, you can use a hot glue gun. If not, I would definitely recommend using tape. I think that using traditional school glue will take probably too long to dry unless you have some kind of clothespins to hold your pieces together. So let's get started. We're gonna start really easy. And like I said, we're gonna start with this guy, the snake. So for him in particular, you'll just need your scissors, your craft tube, something to color him with, and then a red pipe cleaner or a fuzzy stick. So I'm just gonna paint my tube, and while my paint dries, I'm actually gonna give you guys just a few
steps to get started on our next animals while it dries. So just like do your thing, paint it up, no colors, no rules, whatever color you want, no colors at all. I mean, you know, be yourself, do your thing. We're gonna have a pink snake. Did you know that snakes eat their prey whole because they don't have any teeth? Be a little scary if snakes had teeth. Let me see this here. Don't mind me, I used my mouth to hold my my paintbrush. If I'm going too fast for you guys, just keep in mind that this is being recorded. So you can see the recording at michaels.com at any time. And like I said, you know, you can always use it as a reference to create other critters and creatures in the future. Alrighty. So now that my pink tube is painted and covered, I'm gonna just set it aside for a second so then it can dry while we work on our next little guy. Like I said, we are going to work on the elephant next. So just take another cardboard tube. You can take a paper towel and cut it, whatever you prefer. I actually like to use a cardboard tube for this because I like my elephant to be a little bit taller. So this is the elephant. He's made out of one cardboard tube. You can embellish him and color him however you want. You're welcome to also color him before you cut him, but I prefer to just get him, you know, get the shape done, and then I like to decorate him after. So you're just gonna flatten your tube. Yeah, Maria, shout out to our moderator. She is a real person answering all of your questions. Say hey, Maria.
Hello, everyone.
So you would use craft foam to cover your tube. I can show you an example. This actually was made with felt, but you could use it in the same way. So you could cover your tube with the material to add coloring. If you do this, I would recommend getting help from an adult to use a hot glue gun so it dries more quickly. But it does have a really nice finish to it. Oh, my giraffe's ear is falling off. I need to reattach it.
We have another question, Katie. Can we do any animal if we don't have the same materials?
Yeah, absolutely. There are no rules. I'm telling you guys, you can create whatever you want today. I think that from the techniques that I show you, you're going to find that you can create a zoo full of majestic animals. So like I said, you're going to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, one more. If you paint, how many coats of paint?
So it depends how vibrant you want your colors to be. I would definitely recommend probably a top coat and then maybe one more coat after it dries. For the sake of today's class, I'm probably only going to do a top coat, but for my finished projects that I have, I probably did 1 to 2 coats of the paint.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just cut this guy in half. Maybe a little more, because like I said, I want my elephant to be tall. And then what you're gonna do, so press it down, press it down. You're gonna flatten it and you're gonna draw the ear, the legs, and the trunk. So I'm gonna show you exactly where to draw. Oh, if I had a pen that worked, let's see here. Alrighty. So you're gonna draw the ear as I show you here. Just like that. And then you're gonna draw your legs. So you'll just draw an arc like that. And then we're going to cut a slit for the trunk. So I think actually, I need to reference my project to see exactly where I want this slit to go. I think we're gonna put it right here at the front. So the important thing to remember here is you're actually going to want to do a straight line and then a slant. So you'll draw a triangle here. You can see it on the finished project to give his trunk a triangle shape. That's why we're drawing the triangle. And then you're going to take your scissors and you'll cut. So cut his legs out. Cut right here. Be very careful and ask an adult for help if you're not really good with scissors. I'll be honest, cutting is probably my least favorite part of crafting. I get a little stressed out because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so when I don't cut along my lines, I get frustrated, but we're just here to have fun, so it's okay if your lines aren't perfect. And then you're gonna cut right here. And be sure to stop, because if you cut all the way up, you're gonna cut too far into your trunk. And then here, you're just gonna cut on an angle from the corner to the tip, like that. So now we have our elephant's trunk and we have his leggies. And the next thing we're gonna do is cut our elephant's ears. So we're gonna start like this. Yes, there will be a recorded session that you can access after this if I'm going too quickly. So you're gonna cut like that over the top, and then you're gonna cut again. You don't wanna go all the way through because you want to have your elephant have his ears be attached. If you cut all the way through, you'll detach his ears. And I mean, what's an elephant without his ears, right? Did you know that elephants can be determined which kind of elephant they are by the shape of their ears? Which I thought is really cool. And it's the same for giraffes with their spots. So you're gonna cut it like that, right? So you got your guy. This one's not coming out as cute as my other one, if I'm being honest, but you know, life happens. I bet you your guys are coming out really cute. And then, so you have this cut. Like I said, you don't want to cut all the way through. So then you're going to cut like that to give him a body. And then you'll cut right there. And your elephant, crazy as he may be, is done. Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't showing you guys all the whole thing. So like, you can see twinning basically. Then to create the shape of your trunk, you're going to fold it like an accordion. So you're gonna go back and forth here like this. Going back and forth. It's pretty cool that this is made out of literally just one cardboard tube. And a few cuts, you know? And there's his crazy little horn, trunk, it's not a horn, it's a trunk. That's his crazy trunk. Sorry, that was funny to me, at least. It's good to laugh at yourself. A little laughter a day keeps the doctor away. So then, what color do we want our elephant to be? I guess today is just a day full of colors. This guy is going to be blue. Like I said, if you don't have paint, you can use crayons, you can use colored pencils, markers. I mean, really anything that you can get your hands on to color it up. Just make sure that I'm using washable paint. Obviously, you want to, unless you're wearing something you don't mind getting a little messy, washable paint is definitely recommended. So let's just give him, again, I would probably do about 2 coats for like a really thick coat, especially with washable paint. It just doesn't have as thick of a coat as acrylic. For markers, if you use permanent markers, just be careful as to not get it on anything, and it may bleed through, so that's something also to keep in mind. But if you're using washable markers, 1 to 2 coats of that should be fine too. And when you're coloring and painting, if you really want to have a nice finish, you want to make sure that you're always putting your strokes in like the same direction. So I'm an up and down painter. So I'm going up and down my elephant's ears and his body. But if you're already going side to side, then continue that and your strokes will look really clean. I have a lot of paint on here, so I'm actually going to wipe it on my little space over here and give it a dip. Is everyone having a great time so far? Because I know I am. But you know what this does? It really just makes me miss going to the zoo. The Bronx Zoo is one of my favorite places to go in the summertime. Let's see. The reason I wanted my elephant to be so big, did you know that elephants are the world's largest land animal? Pretty cool. I've never seen an elephant like up close. I've only seen them at the zoo. But one time I did get to feed a giraffe, and that was probably the best day of my life, if I'm being honest. It's like dreams do come true. So shoot for the stars or for the giraffes, whatever your dream may be. So I hope I'm not going too fast for anybody. If you need a refresher, I'm obviously not somebody that minds getting a little messy, so I'm kind of just getting paint all over myself. But obviously feel free to grab some wipes, maybe wash your hands in between if you're not somebody who enjoys being a little dirty. I mean, what's crafting without being a little messy? Okay. So now that I have this elephant's blue coat on, nope, missed his leg. You can see I definitely need a second coat here because you can still see kind of some of the residue of the glue from the paper towel. And for those of you who missed how to cut him out, you guys can always reference the recording that will be posted later today. So do not fret. You will also be able to create your own elephant. I wish I could go back in time, but unfortunately we have a lot of animals to create today. Oh my God, Bronx Zoo, shout out, love it. All right, so I'm just gonna put my elephant over here and I'm gonna clean my brush. Be sure to clean your brush if you're using paints in between colors. You don't wanna mess up your paints and get them all yucky. My hands are a little dirty already, but that means we're having fun. So we're gonna go back now. While our elephant dries, we're gonna go back to our snake, who we painted, I don't know, 15 minutes ago now. Mine's still a little wet, so I'm just gonna like brush it out. You can see that I could definitely use another coat on this cardboard tube because the paint, again, it depends what kind of paint you're using or what kind of material you're using to color your tube. But at the end of the day, you want a thick, nice, colorful coat. So I would definitely recommend doing it, maybe 2-3 coats with this paint. But anywho, so I'm gonna just cap my paints here because I don't want anything to spill. Don't need any more mess than I'm already making. And on this tube, we're gonna create our snake. So you can flatten it. It makes it a little easier to cut. And once it dries, if you're having any issues, with the curliness of your snake, once it dries, it will definitely dry curlier than maybe initially when the paint is still wet, or if like from your marker, it feels a little soaked through. Don't worry, you'll still get that. So you can see I wanted a cool shape for my snake's head. So you can either do a cool shape or you can just kind of keep it simple, but I'm just gonna draw my snake's head. This one, I think I'm just gonna make triangle shaped. So, or diamond shaped, there you go. Very cool, right? He's diamond shaped. Then I'm gonna cap this. Did you know that snakes don't have eyelids? It's a little creepy because that means their eyes are open all the time. So you're gonna cut your snake's head, but definitely be careful as to not cut on this end because this is gonna be the rest of his body. So I'm gonna just start at the edge here and go like this. I think the coolest part about the snake craft is you pretty much get 2 snakes out of 1 tube. So it's just it's quick and fast and easy. So cut here. And like I said, you can do whatever shape you want. This, I mean, mine's gonna be a pointy snake, but that's okay. Like everybody's snake may look a little bit different. You can see this guy's like he's a king cobra with his shape. And then cut here again. On these cuts, when you're going toward the back of your snake, be careful because that's gonna be his whole body and his neck. And then you cut right here. And be sure to ask a parent for help if you're not good with scissors. Please be very, very careful. I don't like snakes either, but I appreciate you liking my pink snake. I think that pink is a very gentle and happy color. It's a lot less scary, right, than black or green, or I don't know. Snakes are just gross. Okay, so here you're gonna be really careful. Again, I cut mine a little bit. His head's almost cut off. But that's okay because you get 2 snakes out of 1 tube. So you're gonna just cut around, literally. You're gonna cut at an angle and you're just gonna go if your scissors would go. I'm a little bit shaky there on the scissors. And I'm gonna cut all the way around in a circle. At an angle. Boom, boom. Cool, cool. Here's my long snake, right?
If you leave him that size, he could be like the fattest snake ever.
You could totally leave him like this and he's just like a giant snake, like he's massive. This is definitely a snake that has not yet digested his food, but we're not judging him because he's still beautiful. And then we are going to, if you want 2 snakes, you can cut on the other side. So the other side of your snake's head, you'll just do the exact same thing. And like I said, my snake's looking a little bit flat right now, but once it dries, it will be very, very curly. Here we go, snake. There he is. Snake 1, kind of snake 2. Cool. And then I'm gonna just cut this piece off. So then he has like a, sort of has a head. Yeah. So the snake is honestly like probably the easiest of all of them. And yes, it is like he ate a cat when he was not digesting his food. I like that. I don't really know what snakes eat. I think that if you have like a pet snake, they eat mice and probably insects. Okay, so the last step for your snake is you can either paint the inside or color the inside if you want. You can see on this guy, I chose to do that. I also added texture, so I'm going to show you guys how to add a little texture to your snake real quick. You can do this in a few different ways. You can take tissue paper if you have that at your disposal and like dab it and go like this. You can just use a brush and that's what I'm gonna do because it's the easiest. Or you could even take like a pipe cleaner and dip it in paint and tap it on. If you don't have paint or you're not using paint, you can add your own little designs with markers. There are no rules, just make your snake your own. So real quick, I'm gonna take just like a kind of bristly brush that I have here. It's a little dried out, or it's a little, I probably used it with glue and didn't clean it very well. So it's gonna be actually a great brush for what I wanna do. And then I'm gonna take some purple paint. And just dab it here. And then I just want to add a little bit of texture. So I'm just going to dab it, and just give him some cool snake skin. Again, like don't be afraid to get messy. My hands are going to be tie-dye after this. So just go like this. Cool. And now I have a beautiful polka dotted snake. If you guys missed stuff in the beginning, definitely don't feel like you missed out. This recording will be available online later today. So you'll absolutely have the chance to see how to do everything, and you can follow it at your own pace or rewind and rewatch what you need. And here you go. So your snakes are done. Looking great. Oh wait, just kidding. We forgot his tongue. So we want to add the snake tongue. Let me just move my paints. Move those guys. I need just like enough space to keep working, you know? We can't have too much mess. Alrighty. So then you're gonna take your fuzzy stick, pipe cleaner, whatever you have. You could even just make it out of cardboard tube. You could also do it out of thread. Honestly, the world is your oyster. What do you want your snake's tongue to look like? I'm gonna use this. So you could do a little wrap around a pen, if you have a paintbrush, anything, to give it a nice curl. And I want my snake's tongue to be really long. So I'm gonna leave it like that, and then I'm gonna just cut my fuzzy stick. And then I'm just gonna attach it to the bottom. You can use glue, you can use tape, you can use whatever works, you know, whatever you have at your fingertips. If you have an adult nearby, you can ask them to help you with a hot glue gun. That's what I'm going to use, but I definitely do not recommend using a hot glue gun without adult supervision. It can be really dangerous. You could really hurt yourself, or it could become unplugged like mine just did. Hang on. You know what? For the sake of you guys, I am just going to attach his tongue with tape. So here we go. Tape, not the tape. And just attach this guy here. Not as cute as my first snake because I didn't paint his inside, but I think he's pretty cool and he looks pretty fierce in his pink and purple skin. So there you go. If you guys missed how to do the snake, definitely check out the recording later today and you can go rewatch that. It's very easy and you get 2 snakes out of 1 tube. Alrighty. So next we're going to create probably like the cutest, I think. He came out really cute and he's made totally out of cardboard tubes, which I think is pretty sweet. So like I said, with this technique to create the lion, you're actually going to be able to utilize this technique for pretty much any animal, or really any critter. So let's get started. Let me just scroll down here. Alrighty. So we need, what do we need for our lion here? We need 1 TP roll and 1 paper towel roll, and that should be enough. So paper towel roll, TP roll. And then what do we want to do next? I think that we're going to start with his body and his legs. So basically all of these parts you should be able to make out of 1 tube. So we are going to start by cutting this paper towel roll. If you don't have a paper towel roll, do not worry about it. You can use any toilet roll tube. I just am using a paper towel roll because it yields more cardboard. So feel free to grab TP rolls, anything you want. You can use anything. There are no rules. Again, we're the no rules gang. This is fun, right? Okay, so let's cut this in half. If you're struggling to cut your tubes, I mean, no brainer, just flatten them. It makes it a little bit easier. So if you're using a TP roll, you do not need to do this step. But if you're using paper towel roll, you do, because otherwise it's gonna be a really long lion here. So then we're going to cut this. So now if you have a toilet paper roll and you're on this step, we're actually gonna cut this piece in half. So cut your TP roll in half. And we're gonna create the legs for your lion. So you can see now you have two pieces here. They're gonna be his legs. As you can see from my finished lion, we basically just cut slants to hold the body. So like I said, once you do this, you don't even have to make a lion. Like you could make this look like any animal you want. So you're gonna cut on a slant. Make sure not to cut from the bottom and leave about an inch from the bottom. See how I left a little bit, an inch from the bottom, a little bit of an inch from the side. Honestly, if you don't leave any on this side, it's quite all right. You're fine. You just need something to hold here. And then you're gonna repeat the same thing on the other cardboard tube, other half, I should say. Again, being careful not to cut from the edge. Cool. You know what's funny about lions is that they're the only cats that live in groups. And I think that's hilarious because my cat Spooky hates people. So I feel like it's so true that lions are certainly the only cats that want to be around other animals, or other cats, I should say. I have two cats and she can't stand him. Giraffe is his name. Maybe he'll come by later. So now that you have your lion's legs, you can stand them up like so, and you're going to take a second toilet paper roll. So this toilet paper roll is going to be for his body. So we're gonna actually cut, you can again flatten it to make it a little bit easier for yourself to cut. So to make it fit really well here, you can actually leave this whole piece. You don't have to cut anything. See how nicely it just fits inside the tube. So hold it. And then you're going to cut at an angle here. So I just want to show you guys here. When it's inside of the body, this will hold fine, but then where's his neck gonna go? So you open up a space right here by cutting a slit. So again, this one I would probably go about 2 inches from the bottom, so you have a little bit of extra. And then over here, I mean, honestly, if you're lucky like me and you have a tube roll right there, you can just cut along that line. So I'm gonna cut here, boom. And now I have my lion's body and his legs. So it's really nice how the pieces kind of fit together and they're open. It's like ready for you to do the next part. So then we're gonna do the lion's head. Honestly, like humble brag here, I thought it was really cool that I figured out how to make his head out of cardboard. I was really proud of myself at that moment. So I hope you guys think it's as cool as I do. It's really not that cool, but I was really impressed with myself. So anyway, to make the lion's head, you're just gonna take any cardboard tube you have, and you're gonna cut like 2, you can even draw it out for yourself, like 2 strips almost, but it's gonna be your folded in half tube that you're cutting, right? So we're gonna cut 2 rings, I guess is the best phrase. So we'll cut 1, 2. And then you're just gonna put them inside of each other like that. And now you have your lion's head. The thicker you do it, the more of like a face surface he will have. And honestly, like, you can put it in the way I did, like that, or you could do it up and down, whatever you prefer. But honestly, like, this is his head. It's that simple. I just thought it was really cool. So that's how you can make like a cool 3D shape. So this is your lion's head. Now we need to make his awesome mane, and we also need to make a neck that will hold his head. So you can take another piece. This is just my leftover piece of cardboard tube, and basically we want to fit this piece into here. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to cut here. We're going to cut at an angle. Again, don't go all the way to the edge. And if I'm going too fast for you guys, or you're stuck on the snake or the previous animal, no fret. This will be posted later today, so you guys can go through what, you know, and go backwards to what you need. So you're gonna just cut an angle here, and then see how nicely that fits in here. The last piece we need to do, or the last cut we need to make, is now that this fits in here like this, we need to cut this at an angle, his neck at an angle, so then the head has a place to sit when it's in the mane. So you're just gonna cut like this. Did you know that lions are the second largest big cat species in the world, behind tigers? I don't know who's more fierce, a lion or a tiger. I feel like, I have to be honest, I love lions because their manes are so cool. And they're just like giant, they're literally just giant kitty cats. So once you make that final cut, you're just gonna insert your neck into the body, like so. Cool. So I would recommend using tape or hot glue at this point to attach all of your pieces together and hold it. Again, if you are not old enough or not familiar with a hot glue gun, please do not use one without adult supervision. It could be really dangerous and you could really hurt yourself, but tape should work just fine in this instance. So I'm actually going to use tape also. But you'll see, it will just hold it together a lot nicer. Like this. And if it's easier to just flatten your pieces, flatten them, you know, it just makes it easier to put it together. Tape doesn't look as nice of a finish, but you know, you got to work with what you got. And we're actually going to finish the elephant right after we finish putting our lion together. My elephant's still drying, which is why he's on hold. So let me just tape this. And tape doesn't look as nice here, but that's okay. And then the last thing you're gonna do is make your lion's mane. So you'll take either a piece of cardboard tube from before, or if you have another paper towel roll or toilet roll, just grab that. And you know what, this one's a little stiff, so I'm gonna grab this one. I've been collecting cardboard tubes for quite some time, obviously. So what you're gonna do here actually is flatten your tube. It can be honestly any length, and then you can decide how big you want the lion's mane. And you're just gonna cut slits into the tube. Don't cut all the way through, leave about 1 inch or 2 inches at the end, and that's gonna hold the head of your lion, as you can see here. So we'll just do this. Be really careful when you're cutting. Ask an adult for help if you're not good with scissors. And then you'll want to cut where you're across your folds here as well. And then you'll fan out the end pieces, and that's how you get your lion's mane. So there you go. So yeah, there he is. There's his mane. And you can pop your pieces from earlier, if they fit perfectly, into the head. So you just push the little circle shapes you made earlier and you plop it in. And then to finish off your lion, you'll go back to his body. Mine's a little rickety here. I probably should have used some hot glue. And I can go back and do that again. Like, it's totally fine. There are no rules. So I'll go back and put more glue in there, but then you just plop the head right into the neck, and there you have it. You have your own little cardboard tube lion. To decorate him, you can use paint, you can use, I mean, honestly, again, like, you can use whatever's at your disposal. For this guy, I used paint, and I used the same technique that I showed you guys previously on the snake, which I'm happy to go over one more time. Basically, all you have to do is, I'm going to just demonstrate it on this guy because he's a little more sturdy than the other lion that I built. So you just take your paint, whatever colors you want. So I'm going to use orange and just kind of add to the design I already had going on him. Again, like, feel free to use whatever colors you want. You can make him a traditional yellow and brown lion, or you can make him purple and green. Colors of the rainbow, make him fun. So you'll do exactly the same thing, just take a little bit of paint on the end, and then you'll just dab it, you know, just kind of like, you could use a sponge for this. You could use cotton balls. I mean, you can really, pom-poms. You can use, honestly, whatever you have at your disposal to make like a little print.
You can use paper towels and toilet paper that you took off of your roll to make the crafts.
Yeah, exactly. If you need more rolls, just like use all of that paper for sponge painting. Just kidding, don't do that. Don't waste paper. Okay, we only have about 20 minutes left, so I definitely, as much as I would love to show you guys how I completely decorated this lion, honestly, he was as simple as paint, a pom-pom for his nose, and then I actually used a marker to do his eyes, but I think paint works best on the cardboard. But if you don't have paint, you could use washable paint, you could use acrylic paint. I used paint available at Michael's. So feel free to pop onto Michael's, type in michaels.com, type in washable paints, or if you want something that's a little bit stronger but not washable, acrylic paint can be used. You'll need less coats, but definitely protect what you're wearing, protect your surface, because you may cause staining. So just be careful. I would definitely recommend for younger kids to just use some washable paints, or you could even use just magic markers, whatever you guys have. Again, that's at your disposal. The one thing I do want to show you how to create is a fluffy tail. I made his tail using friendship thread. You could use embroidery thread. I also have fuzzy sticks here, so I'm going to show you 2 techniques to make a tail really quickly. And then you can just kind of dab it on and add it on to the end. So honestly, I'm cheating so hard. If you have a brand new skein of thread, I strongly recommend grabbing it because it just makes your life so much easier. You just make like a little bit of a tassel. So the one thing you can do is, I won't cheat. I'll show you guys the truth on how to do this because I want to, show you from start to finish. So if I were to use the end, you could just simply tie this and then cut it. But if you don't have a fresh skein, you simply wrap it around your hands like so. My hands, like I said, they're a little bit messy, but they're fun. So it depends how fluffy you want your lion or animal's tail to be. That determines how much thread you should use. But I'm going to stop here. I don't know how many times that was. I didn't count. I apologize. But honestly, it's like totally your call. So you'll just do this. You have your loop, right? You want to be really careful to not take your loop off separately. You want all of the threads to stay together. So then you'll cut your loop from the skein, scissors. You can, yeah, cut from the skein. And then you'll cut like a, I don't know, like a 6-inch piece of thread. And you're gonna tie it around the middle of your loop. I would tie it in a double knot to secure it. And again, this is a little bit more of a tedious process. So if you feel like I'm going too fast or you need a refresher, definitely check out the recording later today. And if you are having a great time, join us on Thursday for our Bubble Bonanza. Cool. And then, so my threads are a little bit longer than I want them to be for my lion's tail here. So I'm just gonna trim those, the threads I tied with. And then where I have my loops on the end, I'm just going to cut my loops. And there you have it, an adorable little fluffy tail. See that? And then you can just attach it to the inside of your creature, your lion, your animal, whichever guy you decided to make. So like I said, the thing that's so cool about the lion is from this lion, you can then make a zebra. So let me give you guys a close-up of the zebra. He has the exact same body and build. It just is a different head shape. So I can show you guys how to make this head shape if you're interested in, you know, adding some kind of different look. And he's simply decorated differently. You know, they even have the same kind of tail. And that's really how you really make it your own, is when you decorate it. Before I show you guys the zebra head, I did want to just go back to the elephant for those of you who are waiting. So let's quickly go to the elephant. He's still a little bit wet, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, I do have my other guide to show you guys. So hopefully yours isn't wet anymore. But he's almost done. So the last piece that you'll have to do is cutting his tail. So from earlier, when we cut his legs, we had his trunk on the front, and in the back, you should have a piece that's still connected. So you're just gonna take your scissors and cut, I don't know, a 1/2-inch slit here, and then a 1/2-inch slit here. And then you can kind of do the same thing that you did earlier. We're gonna do the giraffe next. No worries, my friend. And then you can kind of fold it the same way you did the trunk. And then you just add on a tail. So I use the exact same technique that I just showed you guys for the lion. I made a mini tassel and then I just attached it to the end of the tail. I also added small details like little feet. And then I added the inside of his ears with felt. You could use craft foam, paint, felt, fuzzy sticks, whatever you want, markers. And then you just add the wiggly eyes and your elephant is done. Again, if you need a refresher on how to cut the elephant into the right shape, definitely check out the recording later today. And our last guy is my personal favorite. I am obsessed with giraffes, as those of you who may have gotten here earlier are aware of. I named my cat Giraffe, so I think that's true love. So this is the giraffe that I made. It's a little harder to see because I used felt to cover him. But again, the basis of the giraffe is exactly the same as your lion. So I'm gonna just quickly, we only have about 10 minutes left. So if you're not super familiar with how I made the lion, you can definitely check out the recording later today, but I am gonna more quickly go through how to build this body just so I could show you guys the neck. I'm gonna give my mom a shout out because a part of me feels like she's watching. So love you, Mom. Like I see someone commenting and I'm pretty sure it's her. So the first thing we're going to start with are the legs of your giraffe. I actually like to make them a little bit shorter because I like his neck to look extra long. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to take a cardboard tube, a paper towel, or not a paper towel roll, a toilet roll, and I'm going to cut it in half, like so. And then I'm going to cut each of these at an angle, as I had shown you guys before. And again, think of it kind of as, I'm going to leave this guy here as your reference. So you're going to look at your legs kind of as the holder of the body, right? So you're going to go like this, cut a slit like this. And again, make sure you're not cutting to the base. Otherwise, your pieces will fall apart. So here's leggy number 1. And then here's leggy number 2. We'll do the exact same thing. And if you guys missed anything earlier today, be sure to check out our recording later. It will be posted later today. You can always come back for a point of reference. The thing I think that's really fun about this giraffe too is you could totally make it into a dinosaur because there are no rules. So basically, you have your feet, right? And then for the giraffe's body, you could just use one paper tube or one toilet roll. That will work just fine. And you can see it's not fitting super great right now because I didn't do the cuts. So you can leave the back as is. And then you'll want to do a slit in the front. So it fits a lot better like that. And then for the giraffe, actually, to fit his neck, you're also going to do a slit this way. So you want a shape like this. Sorry if I'm going too fast. I just want to definitely finish up before the time runs out. So here we have our body. And again, there's that shape. And now we need the giraffe's neck. So you can take, if you want a really long neck, take a paper towel roll. If you don't care how long his neck is, you can just use any toilet roll. I'm out of paper towel rolls, I think, actually. Secret stash. Never run low on paper towel rolls when you ask all of your coworkers to drop them off to your office. So you can flatten your roll again to make it easier. We're going to make the giraffe's neck, and all it's going to be is a cut here and a cut here. So there you go. And there you go. And now you have your giraffe's neck, and you just insert it here. My giraffe's looking a little funky because it's a very long neck. I think I'm going to cut it down a little bit. The website is michaels.com. We can actually, Maria, if you wouldn't mind copying and pasting the URL for everybody, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, so now that I cut my giraffe's neck to a more reasonable size with his tiny little body, you can just insert it here, like so. And here you go. So that's your giraffe body. The last piece we have is the giraffe head. So you're gonna just take your final piece of, or maybe not your final, if you're like me, you'll have a surplus of cardboard tubes after this still. But you're gonna just take for your giraffe's head, you can use, again, it depends how big or small you want the head to be, but you'll just flatten it out like this. And we're gonna just wanna plop it on there. So we're gonna cut it like this at an angle. So then it fits really nicely over the cone. Yeah, is that the right way? Yeah. Cool. And then you'll attach it like so. His head's a little goofy, but that's okay. I can cut it down so he doesn't have as long of a snout. And be sure to recycle all these pieces later. Do not throw them in the garbage. If your family recycles, make sure you separate. Alrighty, and now here is your giraffe. For a funner reference, more fun reference, here is the finished giraffe. Like I said, I covered this guy in felt, but you could use craft foam. And you could use whatever you want. You can use paint, markers. I used mostly felt, and then I used fuzzy sticks to add a little mane on him, and I used friendship thread, the same tassel technique that I showed you guys earlier. It seems like we're about running out of time. Does anybody have any additional questions before we run out? Once you guys are done with everything, you can paint or decorate your animals however you want. In addition to these animals, you can make dogs, cats. I mean, you can make anything that has 2 legs. So I hope everybody really enjoyed today. I know I did. And definitely check out our recording later today. You can check out this recording to make any of these animals or to create your own from the base. And be sure to ask your parents to share your creations with us with the hashtag Make It at Michael's. I would love to see, Make It with Michael's, sorry, Make It with Michael's. I would love to see what everybody created today. And when you paint over the tape, be sure that you do an extra coat or 2 to have proper coverage. Oh, and one more thing, be sure to sign up with more classes for more upcoming classes at michaels.com/kidsclubonline. You can join me not tomorrow, this Thursday, August 27th, for a bubble bonanza, where we'll be creating art prints, 3D bubbles, and our own bubble wands. Thanks, everyone.